Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HCW Podcast. Back after roughly a month's hiatus. We're going to be back reviewing Friday Night Smackdown, Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Roll intro.
HCW Reviews.
The HCW Podcast is back, and you know what's back again? One of these great advertisements for our free giveaway to King of Division 2, Friday 10th February 2023, Black Country Championship Wrestling. That's BCCW for the people that didn't know that. So follow the graphic on screen to enter our free giveaway. You get 2 general admission tickets. You only need to do one of these things to be entered once, but if you do all 5, you'll be entered 5 times. And what we're going to do at HCW, we're going to throw in something extra for you. We're going to let whoever wins this, you get to slap DP. DP doesn't know this. He will only know this when he watches this video. But one chance only. If you enter this giveaway, you get the chance to slap DP. On with the video.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. So, as I said in the intro, we are back. We are reviewing weekly wrestling television. Rate, are you happy to be back?
No. After this week's Raw and Smackdown, no.
I'm assuming Dynamite being at the end was probably a saving grace.
Yeah, Dynamite was pretty good. Like, really good. It was just Raw and Smackdown. After we stopped doing this for December, which we decided would be a good break, they were on good footing, Raw and Smackdown. Come back. Bin.
Oh, well, everything's going on, though. Like, with all the rumours circulating around the possible sale of WWE, Vince McMahon being back on the board. There's so many stories going around. There's people suing him and all that, but we won't go into too much of that because we don't cover news anymore. We briefly go over things, but yeah, if you're not clued into the wrestling world, WWE is potentially being sold. It won't take you much to find out who to. Is the biggest rumor. But I did read today. I did read today that The Rock was interested.
Oh, just I'm interested.
Yeah, I think we're all interested.
We've made enough money on this show with our 81 subscribers. We can
yeah.
We can build in free giveaways. We're doing now. Free giveaways.
Yeah, get in the free giveaway. Get in. Easy to do. 5 simple ways. It's all explained. Rate explains it on every single video that we do. Get yourself involved. Free tickets to a wrestling show. Who doesn't want that?
Yeah, especially because I've announced prior to this. I haven't even recorded yet. I've just decided that if you also enter, you get to slap DP.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that. I might enter. But yeah, what we'll do is we will crack on with the reviews, and we'll start off with Friday Night Smackdown.
So, yeah, Smackdown. It started off where it ended, where we were front, so the Bloodline's kicking it off as usual, and I was like, okay, it's still back to the usual good old happiness. So they obviously, this is the new year, the Bloodline and stuff like that. Prior to this, Sammy and Roman fought Cena and Owens which obviously we weren't covering, and they lost. So Roman was quite annoyed by basically saying, I don't want to talk about this year, I want to talk about last year and how you kind of let me down. We lost to Cena. And then he was basically starting to say, it sounds like, Sammy, you want to be the tribal chief? And then it was obviously a massive thing, like, oh, no. And then he was going, and then KO kind of came down. KO suddenly decided that he's going to have a championship at the match of the Rumble. Well, no, it wasn't announced. He just basically said, it's me and you at the Rumble. Oh. That's how booking works now. And obviously it's just left in a bit of a shatter as the Bloodline are they on the same page and so forth like that. So we're carrying on with that.
Nice. I enjoy the Bloodline.
Yeah, it's very good. That's why I thought this would be a good Smackdown instantly. Because I was like, it's starting off with the Bloodline, you can't go wrong. And then things happened. So first matchup we had Kofi Kingston versus Santos Escobar. Is it Escobar?
Yeah, it is Escobar, yeah.
Who's the FPL guy, by the way? Because I always get mixed
Sebastian.
Sebastian, yeah, so it is Santos.
Yeah, when I first started feuding with him in FPL and I recorded a video, in the video, I called him Santos Escobar and not Sebastian. Didn't even edit it out. Just left it.
Yeah, like, but yeah, I rated this 2.5 stars. It was pretty much bang average matchup. Ended with a distraction with, I believe, I can't even remember who won the match. I've written distraction here, but I'm sure it was Santos that picked up the win.
Yeah, I'm certain it was Santos.
Yeah, it was pretty as just a bang average matchup to kick off SmackDown. Went backstage, so Zayn was backstage with Heyman outside the Bloodline's door. He was just going, I've got to explain to Roman, but Heyman was like, this isn't the time. And he was pretty much shunned away, like the rest of the Bloodline were allowed in, but Sami Zayn weren't allowed. Straight up to Liv doing a random promo where it was she was basically entering the Women's Rumble, so there's not really a qualifying thing for the Women's Rumble because there's not enough women for the Women's Rumble, so you can just walk in and enter. The line is she lives for chaos. That's already better than Wardlow's World in my head.
No, I was going to say that's good.
Yeah, and then she ended with her usual "watch me," which like a bit of Liv.
We do.
LA Knight promo, so they were banging in the promos. He was just laughing about the Wyatt goons, and obviously Wyatt got attacked by his own goon. And now there's going to be a Mountain Dew match. They're having a Mountain Dew match.
Yep.
That's the first Bray Wyatt match back.
I'm not going to judge it until I see it.
Was it Lights Out Mountain Dew match? Is that what it's called or something like that?
It's got some weird name. I can't remember what it is. Yeah.
Next up, we had the... I try and make tag team names up for random tag teams. So we had Captain Emma, which is Madcap Moss and Emma, versus the Scarlet Cross. Oh, I'm very thoughtive of that. I rated it 2 stars. It was dull as fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to swear there.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? It was just like weird seeing Scarlett in the ring.
Yeah. Literally, last time I saw a fight was with Fala Bar and Impact. That's how long ago that was. They ended up picking up the win. Finger got choked out. Madcap. Charlotte's in the ring now. So actually, before that, we had Drew and Sheamus in a random pub. They kept hitting each other, but one-upmanship, saying you hit me, and he'd slap him, and then you'd hit me, and then they're going to beat the Usos tonight. Was the general scream at the end. So we'll see what happened with that matchup. Next up, we had Charlotte in the ring, as I've already said. So prior to our month off, in the month off, she won the championship back. Charlotte is champion, and somehow she's a massive face.
Yeah, don't get it.
Yeah, she beat Ronda. I don't know if that's the reason, but like everyone's cheering her or anything like that. But she's being a bit of a dick about it. Then Sonya Deville comes down and says, "You don't deserve that title. Put your money where your mouth is and face me." So Charlotte was like, "Okay." So Charlotte clearly won that match. I rated 2.25 stars. It was just quite clunky. I just, like the spots, like they didn't know where to stand and stuff like that, and like it was just like. There wasn't a flow, like, if Sonya's standing there, maybe I should hit her that side. It was like, no, she has to definitely stand here, otherwise it's fecked. It's kind of that kind of momentum.
That'll be more down to Sonya than Charlotte. Because we all know, like, as much as we can shit on Charlotte sometimes, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, definitely. It was just, it was a clunky return.
Yeah.
Next up, the match I really wanted to see, which was Ricochet versus Top Dollar. Top Dollar is awful. Awful wrestler. Why have they brought him back? Why did they bring... The only one that has a slight kind of look is B-Fab. Like, she has a bit different. Ashanti Adonis, what is he? And then Top Dollar has just got skinny and weird looking.
Yeah.
Like, he's lost a lot of weight, but he's wearing the same clothes. It's like... So, yeah, he squashed Ricochet, but then lost. That's the whole matchup. And now, like, there's a heel turn where Top Dollar turned and Ricochet, so there's going to be more matches of this.
Can't wait.
Like, I can't wait for this awful rivalry. Like, I've got decided my New Year's resolution. I'm just going to double down on my hatred of wrestling and try not, hatred of what I don't like. I'm just going to double down and go, it's absolute crap. Whereas I used to kind of go, you know what, there's a light side to it. No, it's just pants and it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Finally, before we went to the main event, Zayn got in the backstage area with Reigns finally. And then Reigns, basically, Zayn was trying to apologise, and Reigns went, I don't accept your apology. And I was like, oh no. And then Reigns went, it's me that should apologise to you. And I was like, oh God. And it ended up with, it's going to be Zayn versus KO next week, which is going to be a good matchup. I hope. Because that can't let me down.
No, it can't. I can't see it being a bad match at all.
No. And then we ended up with the Usos versus McIntyre and Sheamus. I rate this 3 1/4. It wasn't going to be a bad match. Like Sheamus and McIntyre are great wrestlers. Usos are awesome as a tag team. They had some great spots backstage. So they had Sammy and Reigns watching one skit. It came back to them, and then suddenly Sammy had popcorn, and he was watching it. And he offered some to Heyman, and Heyman took like one. He offered some to Reigns, and Reigns was just looking at him like, what the fuck are you doing? And then it carried on. Came back, and then Reigns had popcorn as well. It was just an escalation. But the actual match, just good, fast-paced action. Sheamus battering one of the Usos with like 20 beats to the Bowdron. Solo took out Sheamus on the outside, I believe. It might have been McIntyre. It was just a general good finish, and the Usos picked up the win. And that was the end of SmackDown.
Yeah, so like I said, pretty average comeback from what we were sort of used to before we went on hiatus. But yeah, hopefully it gets better. We'll see moving forward. It does entirely depend on which direction this company goes in now.
Yeah.
In terms of from top to bottom, is anything going to change? And if we get Vince back on creative, bye podcast, because I won't be watching that.
We could become the AEW podcast. Everything AEW.
All Friends Wrestling.
Yep, we could watch Rampage.
Rampage, Dark Elevation, Dark. Muzzer will come on. We start watching all that.
Yeah, ROH. Oh, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. We'll find something to cover. But yeah, we'll move on to the other WWE show from Monday Night Raw. 3 hours of Monday Night Raw.
Yes. So we kicked off with KO. So he came down, was about to speak, and then here comes JBL. Texas. That's the start of that. Then he was going like the Corbin's a wrestling god. Owens literally stuck his head in the turnbuckle because he couldn't be asked to hear what was going on. And he was just ignoring them completely. And this ended up being KO versus Corbin. Rated 2.5, just a complete nothingness match with Corbin losing. Same spots from Corbin, stunner, game over. Then the Bloodline attack out the crowd, and they try and beat down KO, and it's kind of all one of them like a split up brawl, like Adam Pearce is down, you can't do this, blah blah blah. And they go backstage afterwards, and the Bloodline are leaving. And then Adam Pearce says like they're having a tag team turmoil tonight, 5-way tag team turmoil. The number one contenders for the Raw tag team titles, I believe. So it's just the one tag team title.
Yeah.
So I think they are splitting them again, which will be good. And then he said, "Oh yeah, the Usos, you can leave." And then Solo's about to leave, and he went, "No, you're not leaving. You've got a match against Ziggler tonight." So the Usos left, and Solo stayed. Then they had a highlight package of the Bliss match from last week. Obviously, we hadn't been watching it. Then Bliss suddenly straddled the announce table, just stood on the announce table out of nowhere. And she was going, "This is the best, like the most entertainment she's had recently, you know, being the face of evil again and so forth like that." And then it flicks on the screen, and then here comes Uncle Howdy on the entranceway. He laughs. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
No Bray Wyatt this week.
I wanted more.
Yeah.
Like a better interaction than him just staring at her from the other side of the ramp. And it was just like, do something, Bo Dallas.
Absolutely
Uncle Howdy.
Getting absolutely dragged out as well.
Yeah.
Then we had Michin versus Bayley. I rated this 2.5 stars. Average as hell. Bayley cheated to win, but I think she rolled up and she had a foot in the rope. It was fine. Nothing like amazing about it. It was just another kind of let's Bayley over.
Just gets a win on it.
Yeah. Backstage, Candice with Nikki Cross just randomly in the background, staring evilly, panned away, and she went there again. She was talking to, I was about to say Renee, She was talking to the backstage interviewer. Ripley comes along, and then Ripley says, "I'd rip the wings out your back," because of a pixie gimmick, and they're going to end up having a match later on, because Candice said, "Why wait to the Rumble?" Fury comes down. He's discussing his win against Rollins, how he's going to win the Royal Rumble. Rollins comes down on his crutches, and you think he's injured, but then he starts dancing with his crutches in his thing because he's not actually as injured as you think he is. He's going to be 100% for the Rumble. And then here comes Lashley. Lashley smash. And Lashley's in the Rumble as well. Who knew? Next up, Candice versus LeRae. Candice versus Rhea. I rated this 2.5 stars. Average as hell. The odd good spot, and then Rhea kind of just squashed her in the end, Riptide, because obviously they're going to build Rhea as a big hurdle to cross in the Rumble.
Did you see the video circulating on social media of Rhea Ripley scaring the kid at a live event?
No.
So, Judgment Day are walking out after a match, and Rhea Ripley jumps down off the side of the ring. Yeah. This kid's giving her loads, and she looks like she's not acknowledging him, and then she just rushes over, right in his face. He absolutely shits himself. It's so good. I'll try and find the video and send it to you.
She's a heel. Following that, you had Lashley backstage with MVP. MVP's trying to bring the Hurt Business back, but Lashley says it isn't the time. So it's going to be the time. No, there's no random foreshadowing. It's either there's going to be another guy in the Hurt Business that's going to attack Lashley, or Lashley's going to join the Hurt Business again.
Yeah, I think the Hurt Business was cut off too soon. I thought they were just getting going.
Yeah, it was great faction. Gave Shelton and Alexander relevancy, and Lashley was a monster.
And if you're going to bring the tag titles back, you've got a ready-made tag team there.
Yeah. Followed by that, we had Dolph backstage, going on about his match tonight, and then Ali comes along, and we find out that Dolph was offered a tag team title shot in the Turmoil thing, thing, but he turned it down. And Ali said, "You screwed me out of a championship recently, and now you screwed me out of a tag team title shot because you don't want to do this." And then Ziggler said it's not about him, basically saying it's about me.
Yeah.
Next up, so all the promos backstage, so it's reversing back to old school Raw. Bronson Reed's back. So he attacked someone for the Miz. I think it was Loomis. So Miz was backstage with him, and he was going "My friend Bronson Reed," and then Bronson Reed says, "I'm not your friend. If you want me to help you, pay me." So he's a bit of a mercenary. Next up, we had one of the matches of I think I rated this match of the night. It was match of the night. I didn't put it as match of the night on Twitter, though, because I completely forgot I rated this 3 stars. So I rated Solo versus Dolph Ziggler as a 3-star match, so I need to edit that. Solo absolutely obliterated Dolph, but it was the selling of it. There was momentum where Dolph did his jumping DDT and the famous and stuff like that. And then Solo has got a new finisher now, which is the Umaga Spike, which is cool. Yeah, but he does it from a powerbomb position where he throws them up in the air and then spikes them that way rather than just the grab spike.
I like that.
But yeah, Solo's a monster, absolute monster.
And if you're going to make him look like a monster, Ziggler's your guy.
Yeah, absolutely ragdolled him.
Yeah.
Backstage, Bayley was discussing with Mia Yim about this is what happens, and then they absolutely destroy Mia Lim. So
Mia Lim
or
Mia Yim?
Meet Yim. Jade from TNA, the Blasian Barbie, Dollhouse Mia. I've got more. Next up, we had Miz TV. I was excited for Miz TV, and then I found out it was Miz TV, and I remembered I don't like Miz TV. Also, Dominik is now a gangster.
Dominik had a funny segment apparently where he was on about, might have been the week when we weren't watching, where he was on about how he did hard time in jail.
Yeah, he did. Because he attacked the Mysterio, didn't he? At Christmas, and he got in prison.
Yeah.
So Dominik was given the big one. He's dressed like Conan, if you remember Conan, where he used to have the bandana there,
the bandana over his face.
Sunglasses. Yeah. Dressed like Conan. And then he's bigging it up, going, I suffered a hard time, I was going to get battered in there, and then I was on the top bunk and someone was going to attack me, but I came down and went, what now? And it was stuff like that. And then the Miz was going, oh, yeah, and bigging him up, and he went, but I've heard sources say that you're only in prison for 2 hours. Then David Priest was like going, no, what's these lies and stuff, and then so yeah, it's pretty much a myth that Dom was in prison, but he's going to big up that character. Then we came to the main event, which I had as match of the night, but wasn't match of the night clearly because I rated the other match higher. I rated this 2 3/4. So it started off with the Good Brothers versus. I rated the Good Brothers versus the OC here. That clearly isn't right. It was the Good Brothers versus who was in the ring?
Judgment Day were in it for ages.
Yeah, it was Judgment Day. Yeah, it was for some reason I've written GB. So it's Judgment Day versus the OC. Which was Finn and Damien for Judgment Day at the time versus the Good Brothers version of OC. It was fine. There was a distraction win from Rhea, and then the Judgment Day carried on. They were against... I've not wrote these down really well here. So I can't remember half
the Alpha
of the match.
Academy?
Alpha Academy was after that. It was Shelton and flipping Cedric Alexander. I've written CA and SB. It's Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Judgment Day went over them clean, no distractions or anything. Just completely clean victory. Then they faced the Alpha Academy. They outsmarted the Alpha Academy. What ended up happening was Otis was about to deliver a Vader bomb on Finn, but then he grabbed Chad Gable on top of him, and then he Vader bombed both of them. And then it ended up that he won the match, Finn, but Finn was injured at this point, and it was going against the Street Profits. So Adam Pearce has come down. It's either you forfeit the match or Dominik has to take your place. So it ended up being Dominik Damien. Damien wrestled this whole match, which was nearly 55 minutes. Damien Priest was in the ring. I thought the Street Profits were going to win it, and I was like, oh, don't do this again. I don't want to see the Street Profits win. Angelo Dawkins looks great. By the way, he's slimmed down to hell. If you see a picture of him, he's got a proper slimline. But it ended up with Dominik picking up the win. It was a great finish. And Rhea helped again. And it's going to be the Judgment Day versus the Usos. And I can see the Judgment Day picking up the win.
Same.
To get the title, which will be good.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Not only are we getting the tag titles back, we're getting a fresh match.
Yeah. And a good match. Usos versus... I don't know if it's going to be Dom and Damien or it's going to be Finn and Damien. I'd like to think it's going to be Finn and Damien because that'll be a better match.
Yeah.
Because Dom's got good character.
I think it'll be... Because it's a thingy, isn't it? It's a worked injury with Finn.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's definitely a work, yeah. It was funny.
It's going to be Finn and Damien.
Yeah, before we move on here, Finn was just sitting on the oversized office chairs they have down there. Yeah. Just had an ice pack on his side, and he kept cheering, but he kept going like, "Go on, Dominik, come on!" Just like he was just doing that continuously, just rocking.
Have you seen he's been like posting pictures all over Twitter, Finn Balor, of him just like lying on his back in different scenarios.
Okay. He used to do the one where he used to do the picture where he'd stand like still like that next to people, with his hands down his side going like that. So I'm guessing that's another variant he's doing. Yeah,
it's just like he keeps posting pictures of like stuff that's happened of him being in the ring. It's not just one picture like photoshopped in. It's just different scenarios of him being on his back in the ring or something like that. And it's quite funny.
So that was Raw. It wasn't as bad, but it was just average. Which is a slog for 3 hours. You know, I want good.
I was going to say, if you're watching 3 hours or something, you don't want average 3 hours.
Yeah.
And like when you come out of a film, if you've watched it for 3 hours and you think it's average, then you've wasted 3 hours.
Yeah, or you just don't go and see Avatar.
Yeah. I've not been to see it.
So. I'm just not going to see it. I can't. Right. I didn't like the first one. I'm watching 3 hours of another one.
Oh, did you not like the first one? See, I liked the first one, but a few people have told me that the second one's not as good, so I don't want to waste 3 hours.
Yeah, it's also 5 films, so that like if the second one's not good, imagine the fifth.
Yeah.
When the Terminator comes back.
The Terminator again. And then we'll move on from Raw and we'll go straight into AEW Dynamite.
Yep. So Dynamite was really good this week. Wrestling wise, some of the promos are a bit off, but it is what it is. But wrestling wise, it was really good. There was like a few 3 1/4 star, 3 3/4, nearly 4-star matches. So we started off with Moxley versus Adam Page. I rate this 3 3/4. Just a hard hitting opener, absolutely battering each other. It's the first time as well where I haven't hated the buckshot lariat. I'm not a big fan of it because it's coincidental, but the way they got into it, it worked. It wasn't just like, the Moxie's down, I'm going to stand on the apron now and he's going to turn perfectly at me. And then he's just not going to move. It actually worked, and Paige picked up the win in it. So it's going to be Paige versus... Was that a number one contendership match, thinking about it?
I feel like it was a championship eliminator, yeah.
Okay, so... But Brian's also going to be... Oh, well, actually, at the moment he's not in it, is he? Because of this tournament. But it's definitely going to be Brian. Maybe it's going to be a three-way Iron Man match.
Maybe we'll just get Brian and Paige again.
Yeah, there is a chance, which will be good. Anything Brian related. But yeah, good opener to AEW. Hard in action. Moxley didn't bleed, which was good. I expected him to bleed, but he didn't. And Moxley sold it really well. He just barely couldn't stand, which is good. Yeah. Next up, Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole's back. So he comes down to the ring. He said he's got some good news and he's got some bad news. So
bad news, Cole.
Yeah, bad news, Cole. So the good news is, he's healing well. Well, he thinks he's healing well, and he's had time to think and stuff like that about what's going on and his career and so forth like that. And then the bad news is not for him. It's for everyone in the back because Adam Cole is back, baby. So Adam Cole's back, and I'm excited because he had a subpar start. So I'm hoping they thingy, and I'm hoping we were discussing it in the FBO. I don't know if you saw it. Owen Hart titles. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
They're a thing. I've forgotten until now.
Yeah, he got it because Britt Baker won. That's the only reason.
Britt Baker won it as well. I forgot they existed.
I'd say there's been a lot of people who've gone to AEW who've been very underwhelming. Yeah. Adam Cole, one. Cesaro, another. Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Massively underwhelming.
Daniel Bryan's had great matches. He just hasn't a great stories.
No, it's just been like, if you want to watch him wrestle and only wrestle, fair enough. I like stories with wrestling, and he's not had anything. So.
Yeah, hopefully this NJF feud will build it up, though. Next up, we had the Firm, Lee Moriarty and Big Bill, which is now W. Morrissey, Big Bill, facing, I called them Hook Boy, which was Hook and Jungle Book.
It's Jungle Hook.
Yeah, I made my own name. Jungle Book. Jungle Hook. Hook Boy. It's the same thing.
Carry on.
I rated 2.5 stars. It was meh as hell. There was a good spot with Hook kept trying to get Big Bill, and eventually he T-boned Big Bill. But then it was just really awkward because he T-boned Big Bill. Big Bill went outside. I keep saying Big Bill because it sounds hilarious. He went outside and just stood there going, what just happened? And then Jungle Boy got Moriarty in the stair, and then Big Bill was just standing there watching it happen. And then Hook grabbed Big Bill outside and he couldn't get in the ring to stop it, but it was just really awkward. It was like, what's happening? But yeah, 2.5 stars. It was average. It was fine.
I don't understand what they're doing with Jungle Boy now.
That's what they're doing. What have I wrote here? I've written Paul Walter. Oh yeah, sorry. They had. Have you ever watched Richard Jewell, the film?
No.
Well, one of my films of the other year, they had the actor. I can't remember his flipping name, which is going to annoy me. I think it's Paul Waterhausen or something like that. They had him backstage because he won a Golden Globe.
Yeah.
I think it was for the film. Actually, no, his name's what's his? I've looked at Richard Jewell as in like the actual Richard Jewell rather than the film. Let me have a look here. Yeah, so Paul Walkerhauser, that's his name.
Right.
Paul Walterhauser, sorry. They had him backstage because he won a Golden Globe. And then they had him with Danhausen. And there was just a funny spot with them. Then Cassidy came along, and then this Paul Walter said, "Are you the best friend? Are you still friends?" Because obviously they've had a falling out. We haven't seen it, but they've had a falling out, and they are still friends. And then they did a 5-way thing.
Okay.
That happened. I'm excited for it. And then so here comes Takeshita for his match. He's in the ring. But then out of nowhere, ba-da-dum, 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 bum, bum. Here comes MJF. So the first thing MJF says to Takeshita is, Konnichiwa. And then he's basically saying, you're a no mark, but you better beat Bryan and stuff like that. And then Takeshita just has a massive rant in Japanese at him. And then MJF goes, I don't think you need to know, you need to speak American. And then Takeshita looks at him and goes, kiss my ass, which I really laugh. And then he started ranting at people. Ken Young was in the front row for some reason, guy out of Hangover. Yeah. And he started laughing at him, going, that guy from the Hangover films that were about 15 years ago. And, we can all watch you on that really big show, Ken Young Doctor or whatever it's called. Oh, no, it's been cancelled. And then he moves on to Freddie Prinze Jr., who's in the other side of the row. And he discusses, we all remember She's All That, except I was born in 1996, and that film, you're old as fudge. The only thing we remember you being the sidekick of a cinematic dog. Because obviously he was Shaggy and Scooby. No, he's Freddy and Scooby-Doo, wasn't
he? Was Freddy and Scooby-Doo, yeah.
And then Bryan comes running down, runs in the ring. MJF just bails and runs like this.
Bye.
Back. And then we have Takeshita versus Bryan. Match of the night. 4 stars. Absolute banger. Takeshita is so good as a wrestler.
Yeah.
So good. Like, hard hitting. And he's a big Japanese guy. It's not like he's streamlined. He's like he's a big guy, so he looks legit. Battering each other, absolutely a thingy, and then Bryan kind of he passes out to Bryan in submission. So he lets go straight away, and they have the heartwarming moment of respectful thing, because supposedly there's a rumour Takeshita is going to be pushed to the moon at some point, which I'm looking forward to. Next up, we had Juice Robinson backstage because he got signed. Cringiest promo I've ever heard in my life. I don't know if it's Juice Robinson's actual voice that made it really cringy, but it was just hard, and he's called Rock Abs Juice or something like that. Rock Solid. Oh, it was awful. But he's going to be fighting Darby Allin for the TNT title, because Darby Allin is the TNT champion, by the way.
Yeah, he won it back. I did see that.
So overrated. TNT.
Yeah, massively. If they give him the title, massively overrated.
TNT Championship. Next up, we had Dr. Hater versus Storm Saraya. That's the tag names I've come up with for them.
Good God.
Rated 2 3/4. It was just really clunky and odd, and there was no the refs didn't know what was going on at the end. The ref was in the ring. There was a really good ending to it though. Shida came down, and she's annoyed that Saraya picked Storm instead of her for the tag team spot. And then Shida threw in a kendo stick, clearly threw it perfectly in the middle of, I think it was Storm and Baker. Baker picked it up, whammoed Storm, and then Hater clinged it out her boots, and he picked up the win. And then you had the Shida she looks shocked, but it's also, you don't know if it's a shock or is that. So I wouldn't mind Shida going with Doctor. I think Shida would be, the worst thing is Hater, Saraya's come back. And Hater was getting the biggest pops. No one really cared for Saraya. She kept saying she needs to get a new catchphrase. She kept just shouting in the man of the match, "This is my house!" But when you say it 7 times in a match, it kind of loses its effect. And then Shida came down, and she got a massive cheer as well. I think AEW fans are just deciding, you know what, we're just going to push the people we want to push now. Just these are the good wrestlers. Shida's a good wrestler, Hater's a good wrestler. We're just going to cheer for them.
Yeah. But no Mercedes Moné.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that was a thing. Money.
Yeah, no,
Money. Oh, did you see a debut?
Yeah, no, it was awful. The move went wrong.
The move went wrong, but that was more to do with Kyrie. But the promo was awful.
I suppose, though, when you're cutting a promo, if she'd have done that exact promo in AEW or WWE, the fans are going to make a noise.
Yeah.
In Japan, they just clap. Yeah. So the promos don't work for me there.
Yeah, but
so it was always going to be awful.
It was just not good.
I put it in WCP earlier on that someone had said that the biggest draw in women's wrestling was Sasha Banks. And I'm just like, No.
I had this argument with my nephew when we went Clash of the Castle. When Sasha was back, I was my nephew's only like I think he's 14, but he's massive in Sasha Banks, and I was like Sasha Banks out of the 4 horsewomen is the least to me.
Yeah, the least roaring.
Yeah, like Charlotte's one of the better wrestlers. Becky is probably the best, as in like character wise and wrestling.
Like
Bailey's a massive character and she has good wrestling, whereas Sasha Banks' character is awful. She's decent wrestler, but she's dangerous as well. Like the amount of times she nearly lands on her own head from dives and stuff like that. I don't get it. I don't get the fascination with Sasha Banks.
No, me neither. And for someone like it was just someone on Twitter. It's not anyone I know, but for someone to have the opinion that Sasha Banks is the biggest draw in women's wrestling, and I wouldn't like to say who is, but I know it ain't Sasha Banks.
Biggest draw in women's wrestling, I would say, is still Becky Lynch.
Probably.
Like out of all of them, like the person that you really want to see in the ring and character-wise is Becky Lynch.
Yeah, yeah.
AEW doesn't have a women's draw at all. Saraya's been absolutely underwhelming.
No, and they absolutely ruined Britt Baker.
And Toni Storm.
Was well on her way to being that.
Yeah. Toni Storm, momentum coming in. Oh, it's going to be big. Ruined her.
Yeah.
Women's division's absolutely ass.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Only thing they've got going is Jamie Hayter, and she accidentally become really locked. They didn't plan on it. Like,
No.
It just happened, and now they're like, oh yeah, let's put the tartar on her.
Yeah, she was just Britt Baker's little sidekick.
Yeah.
Just someone else, just like the muscle side of the faction, as it were. And yeah, she's took over.
Yeah, and it's the same with
I'm
Shida.
glad.
Shida was probably the best part of the women's division when she was champion. Lost the title, then she got binned off completely, and now she's back, and the fans are like, we like Shida, put her on the TV more. You know, it's like, so, fair enough. And did you like, obviously we didn't watch it, but they had to quickly announce that Toni Storm was the partner, because everyone was speculating it was going to be Monet, and then it was like, no, we better quell this quickly, because everyone's going to be disappointed when it's Toni Storm.
Yeah. I know they'd done that. Because then everyone was fuming that they'd done that, and it was just like, well, if they'd have left it, you'd have been fuming.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good they did that because it would have been awful if if Toni Storm came down. It was like, oh.
Can you imagine though, like if they had have announced Toni Storm and she was coming in, they could have done that anyway, and the moment would have been so much bigger.
Banks ain't going
by announcing Toni Storm, and then Monet comes in, and it would have been better anyway.
Yeah, I don't think she's actually going AEW.
Oh no! Well, if she was,
she might do now, depending on what's going on with WWE. But prior to the WWE speculation, what's going on? I think she would end up back in WWE.
She's signed to New Japan anyway, so I mean, it's not going to happen. If she's going to end up anywhere in America, it'll be AEW.
Moving on, the Jazz Society. So big thing before we go into it, the Jazz Society turned up at PWG and had a 5-on-5 match, which is incredible. So that was mentioned in the promo, but I completely forgot about it.
I saw Michael Oku's tweet saying I wrestled Chris Jericho this weekend.
Yeah, here's a picture of me in the walls of Jericho, and it's like, yes, you are. So that was incredible. So last week, Jake Hager powerbombed Ricky Starks through the table. I don't know if it was last week, but they mentioned it. It was one of the weeks. So they were all discussing it in the ring, and then here comes Starks with Action Andretti. So we missed out on Action Andretti, so he beat Jericho clean 1 week.
I saw, Jericho was fuming.
And then it was fine, this promo, but Ricky Starks is hit and miss with promos to me. He's either good or he relies too much on trying to think of a smart name to call someone, and then he struggles, and it just sounds like you Wally. It's just like, it's like not good names. And it's going to be Jake Hager versus Ricky Starks on Rampage. I'm looking forward to that. Jake Hager likes his hat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to not watching Rampage.
Rampage boy! We're going to have to bring him back if flipping WWE goes down the bin. Rampage boy's going to have to come back on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he ended with Ricky Starks saying he's absolute. I like Ricky Starks, it was an off promo. And then we ended with the Escalera de la Muerte. It was a ladder match. TLC ladder match. I rated 3 3/4. I really enjoyed the match until the end. Not because the Elite won the match. I still don't think they should have won the match. I think Death Triangle had more to win. The Elite don't need that win, but because it's AEW, they won it. I don't know who they're going to challenge now. Who's going to be the next? Who's going to take it from the Elite? There's only one trio. That can, like, there's no other trios. There's factions and stuff like that. But there's no, like, the firm don't have a trio.
No.
Is there factions? Is there any other factions? Jazz Society, they don't have a trio.
No, they could make one, I suppose, but you need something with interesting story, don't you?
Yeah.
No, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, it's a failing concept, this trio titles, instantly in my head. Because it's just going to get lost in the shuffle. But it was good. It was going to be a spot fest. Some of the things this would have been match and now, but some stuff let me down. I said the finish was a bit awful. Like Pac whammed Omega's hand with a hammer. He kept selling his hand for the old match, which was fine. And then he was standing, basically, everyone got knocked out, and then Omega was standing on top of the ladder, reaching for the tag titles. He stopped. Then it looked like, oh, Pac's going to get him, like someone's going to stop. Then he reached for him again, then he stopped. And then eventually he pulled it down. It was like he kept thinking, have we done all the spots? Yeah, we have. And then he started going, have we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we must have done it. And then he pulled the title. It was like, yeah, that's the end of the match. But it was just like, there was a lot of stuff happening, and it was, I've noticed it. It annoyed me. You'd just have, like, Nick Jackson would be standing outside the ring watching Kenny Omega just getting grenaded and destroyed. Just watching it happen. Like the Lucha Brothers are setting up a table, and you can see, you probably should save Kenny before he gets absolutely demolished here. Just watching it. Just literally watching it. I was sort of, what?
Yeah.
Like, the match was good. It was just like little things you were noticing outside, just watching spots, and it was like, just lie down or something. Get out, or not be facing the hard cam. So, you know, like, just watching this happen. And it was just a lot of stuff happening that was annoying me. But overall, AEW was good. This was a good match, I'm not going to lie. Takeshita's match was match of the night. Moxley's match was good. There was nothing let down the show. It was just the silly points as usual in AEW, but like it was a lot better than Raw and SmackDown this week.
Yeah, but you could tell by the card as well when it was announced that the AEW show was probably going to be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, fair play. Definitely show of the week, and match of the week went to Brian and Takeshita.
Yeah.
Was it?
Takeshita. Yeah. Remember, we can't say Takeshita. He also, MJF made that joke. Isn't your name Takeshita?
Yeah, I saw a few things where people thought he was borderline with the racism in his promo, MJF.
Well, yeah, he said
so he probably...
Konnichiwa, and he said take a shitter.
But yeah, I do, like I said, I've not seen the particular promo that people have been on about, but I have seen it banded about. So I mean, if people are thinking it, you probably need to be a little bit more careful around the promos.
Stop being a bit on the nose, basically.
Yeah. Which MJF is pretty straight talking. We all know what we're going to get from him.
Yeah, it is what it is, and it's just like it's going to happen. He's going to be a dick at some point.
Yeah. Not the worst week in wrestling, and hopefully things can only get better for Raw and SmackDown from here. Hopefully, I suppose we'll find out over the weekend.
Yep. And this isn't wrestling related, but Fulham are beating Chelsea.
Oh, are they? Nice.
Chelsea are awful.
Yeah, they are.
Just like for any non-wrestling fans that just want to hear our football opinions once every while.
Chelsea is shit.
Yeah, and they've brought so many players.
Yeah.
And then guess the one player Williams scored against them.
Did he? Nice. Love that.
Oh, and Yao Felix has started.
He started. He signed yesterday.
Yeah, he's already up front.
He's not even a striker.
Yeah.
What is wrong with Chelsea? They've sold 2 strikers and bought none.
Yeah.
And wonder why they can't score goals.
Potter's in the bin. Anyway, let's get back to the wrestling.
Yeah. But yeah, absolute madness. But yeah, hopefully with the wrestling, does a bit of recovery this week, and we'll be back definitely next week to cover some more of this fun stuff. In the well, if he gets sold to the Saudis, I'm going on a long one.
Rampage, boy.
But yeah, we've got the Royal Rumble coming up soon as well, so we'll be getting a review in for that. Whether it becomes part of the podcast or a standalone video that we just cover the Rumble. we'll discuss in the background, but we'll be getting reviewed anyway. We've got a few shows coming up that people are going to attend, so look out for the reviews of them. More interviews in the pipeline, but we won't spoil them just yet. You can look out on our Twitter for that, at the HCW show, for any announcements of upcoming interviews, when they're going to be released and who we're interviewing. Rate's already talked about the ticket giveaway, and we did mention it during the pod, but get involved. Follow us on our YouTube channel. Any subscribers we get there, like, comment on the videos, tell us what you do and don't like. Everything that you do is appreciated for us. Join the Discord. We're trying to become more active in there. And yeah, we just talk like football like we just did for a couple of seconds. And anything in general, really, if you just want to get away from things that are going on, you think, you know what, I want a bit of a break. We have like-minded chatting there as well. There's nice people. We've built a good community there. So yeah, get involved. Join the Discord. It'll be in the description below. But from myself, Frozzy, it is good night. And from Rate,
Salam.
See you on the next one, guys.